It all started as a harmless game, a night of wine-fueled dares and laughter among friends. We were sitting in Lila's cozy living room, the fire crackling in the background, the smell of popcorn wafting through the air. My best friends, Lila and Max, were determined to get me out of my comfort zone. They'd seen me dabble in cross-dressing before, but it was always in the safety of our own homes or at themed parties where no one really cared. "Come on, Alex," Lila had exclaimed, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "You've got to do something bold this time. Let's make it interesting." I should have seen the trap coming. Max, always the schemer, leaned in with a smirk. "How about this? If you lose this round of poker, you have to go to a bridal shop and try on wedding dresses." I laughed nervously, thinking the idea was absurd. "And what if I win?" "If you win," Lila interjected, "we'll treat you to a weekend getaway, your choice." It seemed like a fair trade at the time. I was decent at poker, and the thought of a free vacation was enticing. But as the night wore on and the wine flowed, my luck ran dry. It was down to the last hand, my heart pounding as I stared at my cards. I had a decent hand, but Lila's poker face was impenetrable. I took a deep breath and made my final bet. When Lila laid her cards on the table, my heart sank. She had a full house, and I was left with nothing. Well, Lila said with a grin, "Looks like we're going wedding dress shopping." I didn't think much of it the next day, hoping that maybe Lila and Max would forget about the bet in the haze of our wine-induced antics. But when my phone buzzed that afternoon, the message on the screen dashed any hope I had. "Meet us at Belle of the Bride at 2 p.m. Don't be late." Smiling face with smiling eyes, Lila. I groaned, staring at the message. Belle of the Bride was one of the most prestigious bridal shops in the city, known for its elaborate gowns and attentive staff. The idea of walking in there, even as a joke, was terrifying. But a bet was a bet, and I couldn't back down now. As I approached the shop, my heart raced. The window displays were filled with gorgeous wedding dresses, each one more stunning than the last. I hesitated at the door, wondering if I could just turn around and run, but then I spotted Lila and Max inside, waving enthusiastically. "There he is," Lila called out, practically dragging me into the shop. "I told you he'd show up." The inside of the shop was even more intimidating than the outside. Racks of white, lace, and satin surrounded me, and the scent of fresh flowers filled the air. The saleswoman, an elegant woman in her 50s, approached with a warm smile. "Welcome to Belle of the Bride. How can I assist you today?" Lila stepped forward with confidence. "My friend here is in need of a little makeover. We're looking for something unique." The saleswoman's eyes twinkled as she glanced at me. I see. Well, you've come to the right place. Why don't we start with some measurements?" I stood there, frozen, as she led me to a dressing room in the back. Lila and Max followed, clearly enjoying every moment of my discomfort. The dressing room was luxurious, with plush chairs and mirrors that seemed to go on forever. The saleswoman pulled out a measuring tape, her professionalism putting me somewhat at ease. "Just relax," she said kindly, taking my measurements with precision. "We'll find something that suits you perfectly." I couldn't believe I was actually going through with this. But as the saleswoman left to retrieve some dresses, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. There was a flicker of curiosity in my eyes, a part of me that was genuinely intrigued by what was to come. The first dress she brought out was a classic ball gown with a sweetheart neckline. The bodice was adorned with intricate lace, and the skirt was a cascade of tulle that seemed to float as she carried it. My heart pounded as she helped me step into the dress, her skilled hands fastening the buttons down the back. When I turned to look in the mirror, I was speechless. I had never seen myself like this before. The dress hugged my body in all the right places, the soft fabric brushing against my skin in a way that made me feel beautiful. Lila and Max were equally stunned, their playful grins replaced with genuine admiration. "Wow, Alex," Lila whispered. "You look amazing." I felt a blush creep up my cheeks, a mix of embarrassment and pride. But before I could fully process the moment, the saleswoman was back with another dress. Dress after dress, I found myself slipping deeper into this unexpected experience. There was something liberating about it, a freedom I hadn't anticipated. Each dress brought out a different side of me, a side that had been quietly waiting for a moment like this. The saleswoman, whose name I learned was Eleanor, seemed to understand this. She didn't treat me like a joke or a novelty. Instead, she approached each selection with care, her eyes lighting up with the joy of helping me discover something new about myself. By the time she brought out the fifth dress, a sleek mermaid gown with beaded embellishments, I was fully immersed in the experience. The way the dress flared out at the bottom, accentuating my curves, made me feel like a different person. No, not different, like I was finally seeing a version of myself that had been hidden away for too long. Eleanor adjusted the veil, placing it delicately over my head. "You look like a bride," she said softly. I stared at my reflection, a lump forming in my throat. I did look like a bride, and for the first time, the idea didn't feel absurd or out of place. It felt right. Just when I thought the day couldn't get any more surreal, a young woman with a camera slung around her neck entered the room. She introduced herself as Sophie, the shop's photographer. "We offer complimentary photo shoots for all our clients," she explained. "Would you like to do one?" I hesitated, glancing at Lila and Max. They both nodded eagerly, clearly loving the idea. And truth be told, a part of me was excited too. The idea of capturing this moment, of seeing myself fully transformed, was too tempting to resist. Sophie led us to a small studio space at the back of the shop. The walls were draped with soft fabric, and the lighting was perfect, casting a warm glow over everything. She directed me to stand in front of the backdrop, her camera clicking as she guided me through different poses. At first, I was stiff, unsure of how to move in the dress. But as the session went on, I relaxed, letting Sophie's instructions guide me. She had a way of making me feel comfortable, and soon I was twirling and laughing, completely lost in the moment. The camera flashed, capturing the joy and surprise on my face as I spun around in the dress. I felt like a bride, like this was my wedding day, and I was the center of the universe. After the shoot, Sophie showed us the photos on her camera. My breath caught in my throat as I scrolled through them. I barely recognized myself, but in the best way possible. I looked happy, radiant, like I was truly living in the moment. As we were wrapping up, the door to the shop chimed, signaling a new customer. I didn't think much of it until I heard a familiar voice. "Alex, is that you?" I froze, my heart dropping to my stomach. It was Rebecca, an old friend from high school. We hadn't seen each other in years, and the last thing I expected was to run into her while I was dressed as a bride. She walked over, her eyes wide with surprise. "Wow, you look incredible. What's going on here?" I fumbled for words, feeling a wave of panic. But before I could say anything, Lila jumped in, explaining the situation with her usual charm. "We lost a bet," she said with a grin. "But I think Alex is actually enjoying it." Rebecca laughed, her expression softening. "Well, you definitely look the part. I'm actually here to pick up my wedding dress. But now I'm thinking I should have invited you to my bridal party." Her words, though lighthearted, struck a chord with me. The idea of being a part of something like that, of fully embracing this side of myself, was both exhilarating and terrifying. Rebecca stayed for a bit, chatting with us, and admiring the dresses I'd tried on. She was so supportive, treating the whole situation as if it were the most natural thing in the world. It was a relief, knowing that at least one person from my past could see me like this and not judge me. As the day came to an end, Eleanor handed me a small gift bag. "Consider this a token of today's experience," she said with a smile. Inside was a delicate lace garter, a piece of the bridal world that I could take with me. "Thank you," I said, genuinely touched by the gesture. Lila and Max, too, seemed different as we left the shop. The teasing was gone, replaced by a newfound respect. It was as if they'd seen a side of me that they hadn't fully understood before, and now they were more connected to me because of it. On the ride home, we talked about the day, laughing about the unexpected turns and marveling at how much fun it had been. But beneath the laughter, There was a deeper conversation happening, one about identity, self-expression, and the courage it takes to step outside of societal norms. When I finally got home and slipped out of the dress, I felt a pang of loss. The day had been transformative, not just in the physical sense, but emotionally as well. I had discovered something about myself that I hadn't fully acknowledged before, and it was both terrifying and liberating. I stood in front of the mirror, looking at the man who had just spent the day as a bride. But instead of feeling out of place, I felt complete. The experience at Belle of the Bride stayed with me long after that day. It wasn't just about the dresses or the photo shoot, but about what it represented, a step toward embracing a part of myself that I had kept hidden for too long. In the weeks that followed, I found myself thinking more and more about that side of me, the part that felt alive in a wedding dress, the part that Sophie's camera had captured so beautifully. I started experimenting more with my appearance, trying on different outfits, playing with makeup, and exploring this new aspect of my identity. Lila and Max continued to be supportive, encouraging me every step of the way. They even organized a small gathering with friends where I could dress up and fully embrace this side of myself without fear of judgment. Rebecca and I reconnected as well, and she invited me to her wedding, not as a guest, but as one of her bridesmaids. It was an invitation that brought tears to my eyes, a gesture that meant more to me than she could ever know. The wedding day came, and as I stood beside Rebecca in a matching bridesmaid dress, I felt a sense of belonging that I hadn't felt in years. The experience at the bridal shop had been the beginning of a journey, one that I was still navigating, but now with a newfound confidence. I may have lost a bet, but I gained something far more valuable, a deeper understanding of who I am and the courage to embrace it. As the reception went on and we danced the night away, I couldn't help but smile, thinking about how far I'd come. What started as a playful bet had turned into a life-changing experience, one that I would cherish forever. And as I caught the bouquet, laughing along with the other bridesmaids, I realized that maybe, just maybe, this was the start of a new chapter in my life, one where I could be exactly who I was meant to be, without fear or hesitation. Because in the end, it wasn't just about the dress. It was about finding the beauty within myself, the bride I never knew I could be. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.